is just going to be talking about if your legs are touching the floor, it's a leg exercise. Not exactly, but I'll tell you what I mean. So for example, when people do bicep curls or bent over rows or standing overhead press or seated overhead press or bench press, your feet are still touching the floor on all of those. So no, it's not primarily a leg exercise, but if your brain is not concentrating on how evenly and how well your legs can push into the floor and have a continued push into the floor when you go to apply force to the load, if you're not doing that, you're missing a lot of the exercise and you're potentially not even pushing the weight you could be pushing. So for example, if I was doing a bent over row here and I'm pulling, even though I'm pulling with my upper body and I don't feel like these are heavy enough that my legs need to help me, and I don't mean help as in those cheat rows where people, pop them up like so, because then the legs are actually
people actually fucking do that?
Yeah.
I've never seen it.
Use their legs to help them pop it up?
Oh yeah.
Maybe
weak ass motherfuckers.
Essentially, when you do that, you are making the legs be one of the prime movers of the exercise. But when the legs don't move and they're static, it doesn't mean they're not working. So again, for example, when I'm here doing this row, even though my arms and upper back are the prime movers of the exercise, my brain is still actively pushing my legs into the floor. Even if I were to do the bent over row on a bench here like so, even though it's just my right arm that is the prime mover doing the work here, as soon as my brain is saying, Kyle, pull, I am simultaneously pushing this leg down into the floor, pushing this arm that's packed on my left side down into the bench, and even my knee that's on the bench down into the bench. That's going to really help me create a lot of force, or first of all, create a stable platform to work from. And whenever your base of support is very stable, you have the potential to create more force, or produce more force, sorry. So, another example of that, again, is when you do a standing overhead press versus a seated press. You could do more weight in the seated press, and it's because that base of support becomes so much bigger and a lot more stable. Like when I'm standing and I'm pressing, and yes, my legs are driving into the floor, that weight, if I'm not strong enough in my trunk or in my legs, it's going to make me wobble and do me wobble and do me wobble and do all these weird things, showing me that, again, my base of support is not stable enough, or the base of support all the way up through the rest of the chain is not stable enough. But when you go sit down on a bench or a seated position, that thing is so stable and hard in the floor. Like I can place 500 pounds on this bench, and the bench is not going to yield to that weight. So now my base of support has become a lot bigger and a lot more stable, making the potential for me to be able to produce a lot more force. Okay? So even though it's an arm exercise, it's still a leg exercise. You're doing your curls, your bench press, your overhead press, whether it's seated or standing. If your feet are touching the floor, you should be concentrating on how well they are pressing into the ground when you go to pull with your upper body or push with your upper body or whatever it may be. So, quick question for you viewers. I can think of 3 moments or 3 times in life that your base of support, when it gets bigger, you still cannot produce more force. It actually becomes less stable and you can produce less force from that bigger base of support. 2 of those moments are going to be in the gym that I can think of, and 1 in real life. Let me know in the comments below if you can think of any moments where when your base of support gets bigger, that you become less stable. Because 9 times out of 10, when your base of support becomes bigger and more stable, you will be able to push more weight or produce more force from that stable position. Thank you very much, guys. If you liked the video, please go down and hit that like button, share it with any friends, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you very much. Peace.